The last few times we rope dropped at Disney World, we did everything right. Got there early, had a plan, and still ended up standing in a massive line almost immediately. That's when it clicked. Rope drop didn't change. The problem is everyone's using the exact same strategy now. And if you don't adjust just one thing, you can lose your entire morning in the first 30 minutes. And this is just the beginning because almost everything you've been told about doing Disney right is worth a second look. I'm Lee with All About the Duck, and this is part of You're Doing Disney Wrong, and It's Not Your Fault series, where we take a look at things everyone thinks you have to do at Disney and show you a better way. Here's where the series comes from. We've been doing Disney for decades, and over the last few years, something shifted. The old advice stopped working. So we started testing things ourselves, adjusting, paying attention to what actually moves the needle. And this series is what we found. Now, rope drop, we've done it a lot over the years. And lately, something feels different. You get there early, you do everything right, and somehow you're still standing in a massive crowd waiting to ride one attraction with everyone else. So in this video, I want to show you when rope drop still works, when it doesn't, and a better strategy that most people completely overlook. Because if you adjust just a little, you can still get way more done and actually enjoy your mornings again. Rope drop used to give you a real advantage. Fewer people knew about it. Fewer people were willing to wake up early. But now everyone watches YouTube. Everyone reads blogs. Everyone has the same top 5 rope drop rides. And every one of those lists sends people to the same 3 attractions: Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Tron, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So, what happens? Thousands of people all funnel to the same 2 or 3 rides at the exact same time. And instead of getting ahead, you just end up waiting in your first long line of the day. You wake up early, rush to the park, and within 15 minutes, you're already waiting. Now, this doesn't mean rope drop is bad. It just means that you have to use it differently. Rope drop still works really well. One, you're targeting lower demand areas first, not just headline rides everyone runs to. Think Tomorrowland, early at Magic Kingdom before it fills up mid morning. That area is often wide open at opening and gets busy fast once the rope drop crowd spreads out. Two, you're okay skipping the must do at opening. This is a big one. The most popular rides are the most crowded at rope drop. And three, you're trying to stack multiple short lists early. Instead of putting all your time into one big ride, you're collecting 3 or 4 wins in the same amount of time. Let's use Magic Kingdom as an example. Most people rope drop and immediately head to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And it makes sense. It's popular, it gets long lines, but here's the problem. So does everyone else. We've seen the line hit 60 minutes by 9:15. So instead of walking onto rides, you're standing in line that built almost instantly. Meanwhile, other parts of the park still relatively empty. So here's what we started doing instead. When the park opens, we go the opposite direction. Instead of Fantasyland, we head towards Adventureland and Frontierland. You're not fighting the main crowd. You're moving with space. You're getting on rides with little to no wait. But there's one thing you have to watch for, and we've learned this the hard way. Not every ride actually opens at rope drop. We rope dropped Animal Kingdom once, headed straight for Kilimanjaro safaris, and found out it didn't open until the regular park hours. Before you pick your rope drop strategy, make sure the ride or land you're heading to is actually open at that time. Check the My Disney Experience app. Click on the ride. It will show you the actual opening time for that day. Sites like touringplans.com are also great for seeing typical operating patterns ahead of time. Because once you know what actually is open, your strategy starts to work. You're not guessing anymore. You're moving with intention. Write this one down. This is the route that we usually use at Magic Kingdom. Start with Jungle Cruise if the wait is low early. Hit Pirates of the Caribbean next. Then move to Big Thunder Mountain. Then swing back as crowds spread out. Instead of one ride in 45 to 60 minutes, you knock out three or four, and that completely changes your day. Okay, this is the one I wish someone had told us years ago. You don't always need to rope drop at all. There's something we started doing calling the second rope drop. Instead of arriving before the parks open, you show up 60 to 90 minutes afterwards. And here's why that works. The rope drop crowd is already tied up in long lines. The initial rush is spread out, and wait times in other areas start to level off. So instead of rushing in with everyone else, you walk into the park that's already absorbed the first wave, and your experience feels completely different. If you take one thing from this video, make it this. We've done this a handful of times, and honestly, some of the best mornings at Disney came from not rope dropping at all. So, when should you actually skip rope drop? If you're not an early morning person, rope drop can feel like a grind before the day even starts. You're waking up early, rushing, trying to beat the crowds, and then you walk into more crowds. That's not the start most people picture for their Disney day. If you're traveling with kids, this matters even more. Kids don't always match that go, go, go pace first thing in the morning. They're waking up in somewhere new. Maybe they didn't get great sleep. And now you're trying to move fast through a crowded park. That's usually where stress starts to creep in. You need to gauge your children and see if they're up to it. For most families, arriving around 10 to 10:30 hits the sweet spot. The rope drop rush has already settled, and you're still well ahead of that afternoon crowd. We had mornings where we rope dropped, and by 10 o'clock, it already felt like we'd been pushing all day. And we've had other mornings where we took our time, got there a little later, and the whole day felt easier. Your morning should match you. If you're an early riser who loves jumping right in, do it. But if you're not, sleeping in might actually give you a better day. Rope drop is a great tool, but it's not something you have to do to have a great Disney day. And once you realize you don't have to rope drop, you start planning your day completely different. Rope drop isn't broken, it's just different. And once you stop trying to do what everyone else is doing, you start finding your own rhythm inside Walt Disney World. Some of our favorite mornings lately have actually started with rope drop. We're early risers, but we didn't rush to the same ride as everyone else. We didn't chase the crowd, we just moved differently. And that made all the difference. If you rope dropped recently, did it feel worth it? Or did it feel more stressful than you expected? Let us know in the comments. We read every single one. And if this helped you rethink how you plan your morning, next up in the series, we're talking about Park Hopper and why it's quietly costing most people more than they realize. That one might completely change how you build your whole day. Make sure you don't miss it. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe. And as always, see you real soon.